Hi guys, Lee here, back with another online commentary battle for RTW War. This time it's a 4 versus 4 submitted by Sparky, who is playing as the Pontic peoples here, and his allies are JGP, Brotherhood Clan, Lee, I believe this is supposed to be Conan, but I don't know, and Wetback. Wetback, I'm not sure who he is. Maybe SR or something, or a random player. They're playing against Crypto, Brotherhood Clan, Legion 22, Brotherhood Clan, Spawn Commander of the Brotherhood Clan, and Uthers of the Brotherhood Clan. So, Brotherhood versus Brotherhood plus some others, I guess. So, with JGP here on the Romans, most of the Romans here have gone for 14-6, I believe. I don't want to really spend too much time running through these, but unfortunately Lee's going to force me to. He's got 6 Arch Auxilia, so I'd have to really question why he brought those. I don't really think they're particularly good against any of the factions he's playing against. Arch Auxilia very good if you're playing against Pontus and Seleucids, but if you're playing with the Pontus and the Seleucids, I don't think they're so great. Really, because the infantry of Rome and Greece especially are very, very highly armored, so the arrows don't really do that much. And I mean, you have Testudo as well to work with, and I mean Spartans, their stats say it all. So I really don't like these archers coming out from Lee, but he's going to start putting them to work early, which is good, and hopefully he's not shooting at these Testudoed urban cohorts here. The Seleucid Empire, meanwhile, has also got quite a lot of archers. Again, not a big fan of that, but it is what it is. And to be fair, Crypto has got a crap ton of archers himself, so I like the archers a bit more for the Brotherhood clan side, because they're playing against Pontus and the Seleucids, which both like to bring chariots. As you can see, a chariot there on the far side there for the Seleucids of Wetback. And we've got a lot of chariots here for Pontus. Of course, the Seleucids and Pontus will be keeping their chariots far back, but even so, you can shoot their infantry, which is very lightly armored. The bronze shields and silver shields are usually not very well armored, and it's even shots from a slight angle usually do pretty good damage if you can get enough of them in. So, yeah, these archers I think might be okay for the Brotherhood side. Sparky, of course, should be looking for snipes on the cav with his scythe chariots. We'll see if the Brotherhood clan gives them this opportunity. I feel like Crypto is falling quite far back here. He's exposing Legion 22 quite a bit, and Wetback might want to try and get a surround on him going with Lee here. Could work out. Especially if they have the cav to charge in here, could do a lot of damage to these Testudo urban cohorts. Testudo not the best defense against high damage cav, like these cataphracts over here, or the Praetorian cav. So we see Greece out here on a flank. I'm not really sure I like Greece on a flank. I don't think they have much kind of fast damage potential. Really, Greece, you usually like Greece for its damage over time, so the longer Greece stays engaged on enemy units, the more damage they get done, and that's usually what you want to see. So usually you see Greece in the middle, but they decided to put Greece on a flank with Spawn Commander here. Even if Spawn Commander does push in with these Spartan hoplites, he's going to have to get a very good surround to get a fast route going. I'd much rather have Rome doing the pushing in this case. Greece is much more kind of stable faction in that it doesn't really like to move once it gets its pikes down. It's pretty much the same as all the other pike factions, except much stronger in terms of infantry. But you know, that is something worth considering. It looks like I'm not sure which faction they want to pair against Greece. They seem to be thinking about pairing Pontus against Greece, which is an interesting proposition. It might not be too bad, but you can't really count on Pontus to hold out for too long. Looks like Wetback is going for a flank here, while Spawn Commander was going for a flank, but he seems to be just keeping pace with the rest of his friends now. Wetback here pushing in. I don't think his infantry is quite strong enough, but there are a lot of archers here on the side of Crypto and there are just a crap ton of archers from Crypto, so his infantry probably isn't as good as it could be. So the Seleucids might survive a bit longer than they would otherwise. Spartan Commander again, just pushing and pushing along with Uther's dragons. Looks like there is quite a bit of cav set up here. Again, wetback pushing in here. I feel like this shouldn't be happening. I don't know why Crypto is running away. It's probably okay for him to take this fight as long as Legion 22 is there to support him. Instead, they've got all these archers kind of standing around in the middle, and archers aren't exactly the best reinforcing troops around. There's also no counter charge coming in here because of some nice things that Wetback is doing with his side chariots here. I really like how he just plowed that into the cav, kind of not really thinking about it. That's how you should be using chariots. I really like to see that. But in the meantime, nice combination attacks here from the side of Lee and Wetback. Nice coordination with those cav units. Going to get a lot of routes on these archers, but they should come back if they're left to their own devices. There are also some nice routes on the urbans there. But this has resulted in a bit of a chain route. I mean, all these archers, they're alright and all, but if they start routing, the rest of their friends are going to try and start routing. So a lot of these units here that shouldn't be routing are actually chain routing now. And it's funny because now all these Pontic chariots that probably wouldn't have gotten any use before are now suddenly very good in this mass route situation, and just compounding the kind of effect of this route, making more and more units chain route, and it is a huge route there in the center. Really just the core of this army getting demolished. Now you have to wonder whether this could have been averted by putting Greece in the center, because if you have Greece in the center, you're not going to have all these side chariots charging in so eagerly. Maybe you could stop the cav, maybe limit your losses. So I'd really have to question that decision to put Spartan Commander out here, and he's very ineffectual, as you can see. He's just been tied. He hasn't even been able to kill Pontus. He's just been tied up there. He hasn't even split off some pikes here to support his allies with, which could be really good to pair up with Rome, but unfortunately he hasn't done that. His team hasn't really thought of this. And now Spartan Commander is rushing in, but it's way too late. His friends are all dead. Unfortunately, Crypto, Uthers, and Legion 22 are all routing here, and the enemy team should be trying to chase them down. But some of these units might come back here, but they will be quite dilapidated. And not only the morale of these units here, but the morale of the players has also seemingly been crushed, which is a bit unfortunate. So really just a few Julii remnants here, just gonna keep chugging along. Legion 22, he was in the center, so he was a bit more insulated than his friends. But it's really down to Spartan Commander here. As you can see, all these chariots going to come charging in now, but the Greek blob is unaffected, as you can see. The Greek blob doesn't care about these chariots. They're only really being effective against these Romans here. So, I mean, yeah, these Romans are probably going to be caught out, but the Greeks don't care. They're Spartans. But even just the sheer number of men left for Sparky's team is probably just too much for the Spartans, and they're not in a very good position to boot. They're just kind of blobbed up and surrounded. So Spartan Commander just admits defeat there. He probably could have held on a bit longer if he didn't just admit defeat, but I mean he's in a pretty terrible position, as you guys can all see. Even quite a few archers left, so if the infantry wouldn't get him, then the archers probably would have gotten him eventually. A lot of cav lying around as well for charges if need be. Really, what that game came down to was Spartan Commander, I'd have to say. I find it quite perplexing that they didn't put Spartan Commander in the center, because usually with Greece, you want to be getting those solid engagements. You don't really care whether he's on a flank or whether he's in the center. You really just want him to engage. You really just want him to stick himself on the front of some enemies and start poking away, because the sooner you can get that going, and the longer you can keep that going for, the more likely you're going to be to win, because the Spartans are really just great tanks, but also great fighters, at least from the front, and having them in the center really increases your chances of that. Also, you have to wonder whether Spartan Commander, if he was going to go for this big flank push, maybe you should have asked for some cav to support him from maybe Uthers, Legion or Crypto. Send some cav over. I'm going to put my pikes onto the flank and we're going to push the shit out of them. So if you're going for a flank push, I think you really need cav to support that. Chariots aren't so great, but cav I think is really good because you can catch enemy units that are trying to run back first of all. So you're more likely to be able to snag up your opponent, or a few of their units at least. And also, if you do manage to get the opponent to engage, having cav there makes your route a lot faster. If you just have Spartans there poking away, Spartans are great at fighting, but they're not great at routing people. So they don't really do that much morale damage. They have to really stand there and poke for maybe 10 minutes before a couple of units start to rout. But if you've got cav there, they can really speed up that route, and that really makes your pusher a lot more effective. Spartan Commander, unfortunately, this game was just off onto a flank. Like, the whole game, he was just ineffectual. I think he definitely should have provided some pikes for his friends. One of the big disadvantages of Rome is that they don't have pikes. But if you have a pike faction on your team, you can really use that in combination with Rome, and Rome becomes kind of the ultimate faction with pikes. Like, they don't have any weaknesses essentially if you just throw some pikes in there. So yeah, I'm really surprised Spartan Commander didn't go for that. Yeah, I think that's something often overlooked. So I think also obviously having Spartan Commander in the center could have maybe mitigated some of the damage that was done to the Julii guys, because when Crypto started routing, if you have Spartan Commander right next to him, for example, in the center, all the chariots and cav that just slammed themselves in probably wouldn't have been able to, because slamming your chariots and cav into pikes, especially the Spartans, is a terrible idea, and probably would have resulted in a different result. But because they only had archers in the middle, which is a strange place to put your archers, kind of in between two armies. Usually you have them behind your army or just out to the front, maybe on a flank, but you never have them kind of in the middle, separating your forces. That was a little bit weird. Not sure what they were going for there, but because they had archers kind of in the middle, that started the chain route going, and then that made Sparky very confident, and he just threw all his his chariots in, capitalized on that route, and got it going. So nicely played there for both sides, I suppose. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys another time.